think she'll flip the other way, yeah.
No, it's okay. You're live.
Hmm?
It says you're
All right.
live.
We're live already?
So it says.
Okay. I gotta close all these other things that's over there. And is there it's open? All right. Hey. All right. Aloha mai kako. My name is Dimont Kalaya Manaole. And this lady right here, this beautiful woman, the most beautiful woman in the world, is my wife, Aiko Manaole. Julie with two L's, Julie, Aiko Manaole. And I just want to be able to take this time to um, thank all the Mana Wahine that has, blessed my life from baby kid time to now. And something happened today. I read something from one of my closest friends, Dr. Loretta Chen, and I tagged some of the Mana Wahine that I know in that. So if you know me and you're on LinkedIn and you're Mana Wahine, go check it out because your name is probably tagged in there. And it was a very moving thing about the power that people can have in their own life when they decide to stop asking permission and just start doing it, right? And it was a very touching one. So it's kind of long, but I gotta tell you, this is what I found from her. I'm gonna go to that. Don't mind me, my eyes old. Um, Dr. Loretta Chen, she was talking about when I left my secure academic post to pursue my entrepreneurial ventures at the geriatric age of 45. She's still baby yet in Hawaii. I was met with disbelief and disdain. I didn't wait for understanding. If I asked for permission to start Smubbler, it wouldn't exist today as a pioneer metaverse and AI architect. I didn't ask, I reacted. I acted. So the thing is kind of extensive, but that got me to thinking about where I'm at in my life. And where I'm at in my life is it's a really good place right now. Um, I'm living my best life, due mostly in part to this woman right here. If you know from the very beginning, um, how I got here, you know that she was there every step of the way. And, I gotta tell you that, when people find out all the bad things about your life, you know what I mean? If you're like really did some bad things, most people would just run. But my wife didn't run. She took the time to empathize and the time to think about it, and she made a decision that you know she, she was going to accept me in her life. So this is my number one Mana Wahine in my life right there. So I made this video so I can thank all the Mana Wahinis um that has blessed my life. And I gotta start with the ultimate Mana Wahine and Tira in my life, and that is my mother, Catherine Emalika Manaole Connor, also known as Geronimo. Um, my mom was a was a hard person for me to deal with in my life. She didn't have a rule book on how to raise me uh, and how to you know raise children at all. She comes from the streets, born and raised in Kaka'ako, and her life was tough too. You know, and but she made it. and she made an impact in my life. Gotta tell you, was rough, was tough, was for the most part, my life growing up was just pure violence. You know what I mean? I come from a violent household and ruled by one person, and that was my mom. But my mom gave me the toughness that I needed to be able to survive prison, and that's what I believe her benefit to me was. I survived the entire ordeal I went through from a juvenile justice system to being on the streets and to getting through 28 years total of prison life. So I I just want to thank my mom for that. The other thing I want to be able to speak about to the other persons that I want to thank and acknowledge is my auntie Ina. My auntie Ina was, but she was always amazing to me in my life growing up. She always loved us, me and my sister. She loved my mom. She was pretty much close. My mom was close to all her sisters. But my auntie Ina and my auntie Julie. So I want to take a shout out to my auntie Ina Akalong and my auntie Julie Maury. You know, those are my beautiful aunties. My auntie EP. You know, she's the baby, and my mom spoiled her. And then of course my auntie Helen Bunker. So um, shout out to all my aunties because and they all passed by the way. With my mom, they all passed. So I still honor all of them to today. I love all my aunties. I'm including my uncles too, my two uncles. But my aunties is the bomb. And then there's my cousins, right? My cousin Normale, she's the oldest cousin that I have. So proud of her and to see what she did with her life, graduating from Kamehameha. There was a time there that she almost never graduate because she would end up punching a boy in school, and my mom had to beg Kamehameha to allow my cousin to stay there. So she graduated, went on to the Air Force Academy, and well, I believe she retired as a lieutenant commander. So proud of my cousin, and me. You gotta know me. All my cousins, I love all my cousins. My cousins is all good people, solid people in my life. And I still remember them. A lot of them, we don't even have contact today. But no matter where they stay in the world, no matter what happened, that's my cousins, and I will always stand up and defend and love my cousins. So just make that clear. If there's someone Ole over there, you just best and be sure that my cousins, wow, they're the bomb. So I'm going to tribute to all the Mana Wahine in my of all my cousins. So let's go down the list. So there's my cousin Normale, and then my cousin Mackie, Maxine, and my cousin Wendy, all from my auntie Helen. I honor you and I love you. And then from my my auntie Ina, again my cousin Patty. Oh, my cousin Patty, but she was like the mother hen of all us kids when we was growing up. She used to be upset like I gotta go babysit all these kids. But yeah, she was a mother hen, and we love her. She was always that mother figure for us kids. And then there's my cousin Debbie. Um, she was my best, like that's like my best friend when I was growing up because we were about the same age and we used to dance together and just goof around all the time. That's my cousin Debbie. And then there's my cousin Sylvia. Um, that bugger boy, she used to punch me in my stomach when we was kids and stuff like that. And it's funny that I remember all these memories because I spent a lot of time in solitary confinement. So the movie in my head was fresh from my childhood. But when I got out and I go talk to my cousin, and I go, "Wow, I don't remember that." Oh, you remember that? Then when I bring them to their memory, they go, "Oh yeah," you know what I mean? Like because they went on with their life, and that's one of the benefits that you have when you're in solitary confinement is that um, you remember things that people whose life continue on and they go get married and they excel at their work or whatever. that they normally would forget because they got new memories. So that's one of the benefits of doing solitary confinement. Um, the so my cousin Sylvia, yeah, I love my cousin Sylvia. She's awesome. And then there's um my auntie Ipi with my cousin Laura. Bro, my cousin Laura, but it's like the she's like the Geronimo of our generation, in our step of kids, below my mom them's generation. Our generation, my mom was the tough one. My cousin Laura, she the rugged one. Don't upset her. You're gonna find out. So I love my cousin Laura. And then I got other cousins that's second cousins. They're my grandpa's brother's um grandkids. And I never knew my grandpa's brother's daughters, but I got to meet their kids. And my cousin Velma, my cousin Drew, you know what I mean? Renette. So to Velma, Drew, and Renette, love you guys. And Velma's mom, Velma's mom is my second cousin. So and that's what was her name? Anyway, yeah, I cannot forget right now. But yeah, I got to meet them and Jen and all that. So love them guys. So all my cousins over there. Now we're gonna talk about people who was outside. From when I was a very small child, my auntie Ruby, Ruby Aina, she was next door neighbor. She was like calabash auntie to me, but I'm her godson. And I love my auntie Ruby because I remember when I was 7 years old and I got an accident that scalded the mid portion of my body, my belly to my thighs, second and third degree hot water. And it was my auntie Ruby who came and rescued me, took me, put me a tub, and had me treated and all that. And it was a horrifying experience that I believed that I was gonna die. And my auntie Ruby was the one that was there. So all my life when I was growing up, I always thought about my auntie Ruby. I loved my auntie Ruby. And when she passed, I was in Halava High Security Facility. I was in Halava Security Security Facility, working in a high security in Hawaii Correctional Industries. And I was able to use the phone and call Galen, who was her son, who is her son, and doing her funeral services on Maui. And I was able to talk and thank him for his mother. And it was then that I learned that he said, Dimon, you know why mom was close to you? And I said, nah, I just thought that she was like the coolest auntie, right? And it was like because she's your godmother. You know what I mean? And so shout out to my auntie Ruby who passed as well. Um, I love you. I always gonna remember you. So that's that right there. Um, and then there's a number of people, but I just want to be able to recall the names personally. Um, my mom, Irene Chi, she's my Hanai mom. Of all the foster families I went to, the Chi family was the one that actually accepted me as one of their own. They're the ones that instilled in me the love of Jesus Christ, and to this day, they love me as one of their own. So shout out to my dad, George G, the only man I'm gonna shout out that to, but he's the exception to the rule. But his wife, um, mom Irene, she loved me all these years, man, and till today, and she loved my wife. Her and my wife is like like kumpas. So, and my mother-in-law, by the way. So shout out to mom Irene. And then my sister-in-laws over there, Nell and Suka. God bless Suka and her beautiful soul. She was beautiful to me when I was growing up. That was my cousin. My brother, uh, Sage, that was his first wife, and she treated me with kindness. And I remember baby Deja was only like 6 months old, and I used to hold her in my arm and wait for Suka finish class because she had to finish on 10th grade class, even though she was on senior. And then Zaria was amazing too. To this day, Zaria only show me love. She's awesome. She make the best okay uh squid. You know what I mean? So you guys gotta know that. You like squid, go see Zaria. And so that's with that. Um Now going moving on. Um I gotta go to my detention home days. My one of my closest friends was Bobby Girl de Costa. She worked up at Keao now. I love Bobby Girl de Costa. She was always my friend when we was kids in detention home, but I was like, that was my partner. That you know what I mean, and she was solid with me and stuff. So we did a lot of Kolohe stuff together, and I always did respect her. And then what's funny is that 40 years later, I'm still looking for her. We never see each other for 40 years. And now we make contact and we're able to talk story and stuff like that. And I just want to show her appreciation and love because that's my title. And then as we move along to uh, growing up, I fast forward to prison. In prison, I met a woman. Her name was Lynn McCauley. And this is the reason why I'm making this video because it was after I was reading Loretta's thing, Lynn McCauley's name came to my mind, and she was one of the first persons that ever, you know, and made me believe that I could actually be something in my life. So at the time, you guys gotta understand where I came from. So just came out of the high security facility. I was in the medium, and I was going school and I wanted to be something, right? I couldn't hardly read or write. When I took my first test, my grade level was third, fourth grade kind level, and so I put it in my head that I go and excel because I want to go to college. So I did them. I studied, tested. Was unreal, and finally brought my grades level up to 10th grade level because that was the minimum. You gotta have at least some 10th grade level to enter college. So I did that, and then I took college classes from HCC, KCC, and LCC, right? And so I did that, and it wasn't in KCC's classes, computer programming. I figured, yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot, right? Who would ever think me, a punk kid from Cali, from the streets, and troublemaker and all that kind, going going to kind do computer programming, computer programming. Can you imagine that? And I was writing code bar in DBase 3, and for 4 semesters I had B average, and so I put my mind to it, and I did it. And John Duncan was our professor, and he was awesome. So he ended up hiring me for his work line up in the high in the administration office for Hawaii Correctional Industries. Now you got to know that in order to be up there, I mean, you got to be pretty much a convict that or inmate. Is they only hired inmates at that time. So if you don't know, there's a difference between inmates and convicts. So all the guys they had up there was all inmates, right? The other guys they scared, they don't like get in trouble. They should tell them something, yes sir, and all that kind. They bow down and all that. But I come from a different breed. When I came to prison, I was already prepared for prison, and I came with a convict mentality, right? And so I'm not that guy. I'm not an inmate. I'm born and raised a convict. So he hired me up there. You gotta know that. And the guards was tripping. When I went up there, the first day, bro, the first day, we're in the office, we're doing our work, and then they made it clear that when you go to the bathroom, You cannot look right. You cannot look left. You just gotta go straight to the restroom and come back out, straight out, right? So I agreed, and we all went line up like little boys, and we went marching over there to the bathroom. But at the time that we went, it was lunchtime, and all the guards had their own personal kitchen up there, and you could hear pin drop when they saw me walk past those doors. I could sense the anger and the surprise and the shock. But I never looked. I just kept walking. And when I came back in, within seconds, I hear the door slam open. And here comes Eddie Marshall with the kind Sergeant Milky. Sergeant Milky was cool, bro. Sergeant Milky was cool. Him and his sons, they're cool people, bro. Anyway, Eddie Marshall come booming in. And he was a barrel-chested guy. And he tell my supervisor, you know this guy right there, you gotta fire him right now. And back in those days, the ACOs tell any supervisor for fire anybody. They don't even blink. They just fire you. No question, nothing. They just fire you. But my supervisor, who was kind of naive, said, "Why? What did he do?" And he said, "It doesn't matter what he did. You know this guy, blah, blah." He started grumbling about all kinds of stuff about me. And he said, "Well, I can't do that." That's when Lynn McCauley showed up. She was the administrator. And the thing about Lynn McCauley was she never answered to nobody. None of the guards, none of the high-ranking the wardens or anything like that. She answered only to Cayetano. Cayetano is the one that brought her from Walla Walla um, um, Correctional Industries, the prison in Walla Walla. Yeah, the correctional industries over there. She was there for 17 years. And the agreement that she had with the governor is I only answer to one person. And the governor said, don't worry about it. I'll put you in charge over there and you go run our industries. And she turned that whole industries over, but she was amazing. A lot of stuff that she did, I mean, she was she just smashed the whole old organization and made correctional industries a profitable endeavor for the state. And anyway, so she comes out and goes, what seems to be the problem here? And he goes, this guy, he's violent and blah, blah, blah. And all this guy, he's not going to last 30 days over here. And you guys, taking a risk on this guy and all kind of crazy stuff. And she said, but what did he do wrong? And he couldn't articulate anything that I did wrong. He just never liked me over there. She goes, well, unless he violated some rule, I'm not going to fire him. I just hired him. And he was mad. He stormed out. Arrgh! Never liked the idea that a woman stopped him from doing what he wanted. That's why he was mad, because it was a woman. And in a high security facility, it was a man's world, and they didn't like women coming in and doing that. And then we ended up sitting down and talking story, and she's like, why do they treat you like that? Why do they talk about you like that? I said, because they're scared. Because they know what I told him the last time I saw him when I was in high security facility. He was threatening me and he was making threats against me. And I told him, one day I'll catch you. I'm going to pop you. And so he's worried. He's afraid that I might actually attack him. And she goes, are you going to attack him? I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And I said, because I want to be able to change my life. I want to do something. And so she became my mentor. She's like, okay, I'll tell you what. She told John Duncan, anything we demand, just bring it to me. No, if anybody get any issues or whatever, just bring it straight to me. And then she told me, don't prove me wrong, right? And I was like, okay. And then she goes, what do you want to do? And I said, I just want to learn. I said, okay. And then about a couple to 2 weeks later, I was going through government technology, and I saw that there was a program in Texas prison that inmates were doing computer graphics. And I was like, oh, I think this I like do. Because, programming is nerd business, bro. It's boring. I said, I like create stuff that will make people happy. So I told John Duncan, and he said, well, go make your proposal, and I'll take you to go to Lynn. I made my proposal, went to Lynn's office, and she goes, she's like, "Oh, that's a pretty good idea." And she says, "Okay, go do the R&D on it and get back to me." So I went and I said to John, "What the fuck is R&D?" She goes, "Oh, that's research and development. You gotta research your topic and you gotta develop the program." And so I struggled a bit, and but I did it. It was simple. I said all I do is create graphics for people so they can be happy. They can look at it and they go, "Oh, this is nice." And I said, "What the benefit to you, Lynn, is that I could be your personal graphic artist, whatever you need, because she's involved with all these organizations and stuff. She's like the president, vice president, or whatever. So she was all national organizations, and so I said, I'll do it for you, because I want to learn. Right? I'm gonna have hands-on training." So she said, "Okay." So she told me, "Go pick two inmates, and you're gonna be responsible for them, and let's go do it. We'll go get you the equipment." So she got me the computers and the printers to do that, right? And we only just a printer in the office, and if it's good enough, she'll send it down to the print shop in the medium, and then they go put it on the big machines and they go print out mass amounts of stuff. So that's what I did. That's how I got my start, right there. I got so good that I had ACOs coming to see me and say, "Hey, can you create this for me? Can you create that for me?" And it was a time that I was able to, like, you know, make my deals and stuff like that. And they was happy. They got what they wanted, and I got what I wanted, and they left me alone. And it was good. And there was, you know, in between, some issues was creating havoc and problems for us. And then I would get word to Lynn that, hey, they're harassing us over here and whatnot. And it was a battle, bro. It wasn't easy. But Lynn stuck it out with me. And all she told me was, "Don't prove me wrong," right? Her motto was work. The answer to the problem in the correction industries, I mean, in a corrections field, in her mind, was work. You put the inmates to work, but you don't need to worry about them fighting or killing each other or whatnot, but you teach them a marketable job skill, and they'll come out better people. A marketable job skill. Not that kind of, it's going to be on janitor or whatever, but something that they can take pride in and say, "Yeah, this is mine." You know what I mean? And I do this, and that has stuck with me all my life to today. Today now, I'm successful. I run another millionaire. I don't make money. It's very few income that come in for the work that I do, but the reward is amazing because I do paralegal pro se litigation. I teach these classes to Kanaka, who I want our people to just learn. My goal is one day we're going to be legally literate. 100% legal literacy is what I'm striving for. And to get our people to understand the laws and how to um, be able to have the laws work for us. So that's where I'm at right now. And that's because Lynn McCauley gave me the shot and do that. And I do computer graphics. And I do a number of things. And me and my wife, we work in the INA and all that. So we do a lot. Our days are always busy. Um, Unfortunately, the finances don't follow the success. But hey, we happy though.
But the blessings do.
Yeah, the blessings is there, but the blessing is that I'm alive to do it. That's the blessing right there. So anyway, so that's that. So shout out to Lynn McCauley, because she was there and she gave me the shot, and I never looked back. And so I admire and I thank her. So Lynn McCauley, wherever you are, we love you and aloha. Okay. So then after that, I met somebody on Lynette Cruz, Dr. Lynette Cruz. She's not Dr. Lynette Cruz. At the time, she was Lynette Cruz, and she was going for a doctoral thesis, and we became friends and whatnot. And she came in the prison system, and for the Kupuna class, and inspire us to, understand our culture and whatnot. And so I ran with that, and then she came on the board for Hawaii Correctional Industries. Then there was a board, and she was on that board, and we was able to talk story and get to know each other. And then in 2004, when I got paroled, she she accepted me in her house with her husband, her son, and so shout out to Coney. God bless you, brother. You passed on already, but I never gonna forget you. Her husband, James Nakapa'ahu. Bro, we spent hours, all in 2 o'clock in the morning. We still up talking about politics and he was a rebel, and a lot of my moves and my beliefs and what I push for this right here, our nation, Kanaka Nation. Um, a lot of it was inspired by James Nakapa'au. So shout out to brother James Nakapa'au, bro. You passed on already, but your Mana'o still and Ike still live on in me. So she took me in, and we never looked back, and she's still my friend too today. You know what I mean? We're close. She's like my Hanai mom, and of course she loved Aiko. All the women that I introduced Aiko to that I know in my life, they all love her. They all take to her. So she's like right there. And then along the way, there was a number of people that I met that was good for me, that helped me out throughout my life. Um, and then so I gotta do another shout out to all the other teachers that made an impact on me, and so my friends. So I will make one list over here. I make one list over here, and I just wanna shout out to going down the list. Yeah, Elizabeth Kahana, just met you. We're looking forward to doing good work with you, Tita. She's with Puel Communications. Yvonne Williams, I met Yvonne years ago when she was doing work with Olelo, and she always wanted to write my story. So shout out to Yvonne Williams. All you guys right here on this list, I'm gonna put your names on. And a shout out to Dr. Loretta Chen, and then Maya Soritoro. That's President Obama's sister, and I met her. She's a beautiful soul, and never judged me and whatnot. And every now and then, shout out to her and whatnot. She always shout out back. She's not high makamaka. She's so mellow, bro. You'd be surprised that you would think that somebody who's like the sister of the president of the United States would be, you know, all the way up there with the nose, but she's not like that. She's mellow, bro, and she's cool. She do a lot of good work. Um, Matita Dione Kael, beautiful voice. One of the best things I heard come from her was a song about Hawaii. Hawaii is her home. You guys gotta hear that song. And this Tita doing all kind of fashion design, walkways and all that. That's her. Shout out to her. Madeline Burke, I met her at Country Cafe. She runs that over here in Miley, and she's solid. She came from um, Ihilani and started her own business and moving her in her own direction. Um, Matilda Jill Tokura, one of the best senators over there at that time. Now she's in the representatives in Congress. Her, Miley Shimbukuro, um, uh, what was Cynthia, not Cynthia, Teresa Thielen, um, Cynthia Thielen, she's cool too. And a whole bunch of Wahines at the legislature that I met that was senators and reps. Hey, shout out to all you guys, because you never judged me, and you guys was always open. Your office was open to me, and that was right on. And there's that Maui senator, Rosalind Baker. Rosalind Baker was really cool too, but she's right on. So I shout out to her. Jules Cruz, Julia Cruz. That's my wifey's, and she's cool. And Cody Burgess, my tita Cody Burgess. Hey, tita, how are you, bro? Fuck, a long time no see. Hey, you take care. Hey, she's solid too. Kuvehi, Hiroishi, Ku'u, we call her. She worked for Hawaii Public Radio, right on, solid tita like that. Esther Kiaina. Esther Kiaina, come home, Tita. I say, come home. When she was working for the feds and the DOI hearings in 2015. If anybody recall, it was the words that I would speak that day that would blow everybody's mind when I was talking about the the stolen bicycle analogy. And at the end, I said, "Come home, Tita, come home." Well, guess what? She came home. She came home, and now she's in the city council. So Esther Kaina, that's my Tita right there. She's solid, bro. And then her office manager is Jocelyn Doan. Don't make her mad, cause every time if I make her mad, she like punch my face. But Jocelyn is there, solid Tita. She used to work for OHA community. She was in charge of the legislative, tracking legislative bills and stuff like that. She saw it, and then Charlotte Poy, Charlotte Poy, Baby Char. She's a man of Wahine in her own right. And then there's a whole list of people. The one of the latest ones is Nani Madeira, not Nani Madeira, but Nani Peterson, Regina Peterson. We call her Nani. She's becoming fastly one of the students that I'm teaching right now, and she's going to be opening doors in the courts pretty soon. But you guys got to pay attention to her. Yvonne Duarte. Uh, she's a Ledward. Her she's on fire right now, bro. She's on fire, studying and making use of her time, and she gonna run her own trial, bro. She gonna run her own trial for Save Her Family's Land. But you guys gotta watch that, bro. She's awesome. And then there's a whole lot of other people out there. If I miss anybody, bro, it's not intentional because I love,
Sybil.
huh?
Sybil.
Oh yeah, Sybil Shepherd. I mean, not Sybil Shepherd. I say Sybil Shepherd. Sybil
Lopez.
Sybil Lopez from Kauai. That's my theater from Kauai, bro. Yeah, she run it too, bro. And she run a thing. And then, I gotta get some that I may disagree or not agree or disagree with people, but they solid too and they good. I'm gonna shout out Robin Danner from Shaw and Sherry Cummins. Because I'm gonna tell you something about me, but is I don't care. If you're my friend for life, right? Unless you personally do something to injure me, right, you're my friend for life. I got you. And even if we disagree on major issues, mostly politics, because I'm very politically minded, hey, I wouldn't allow that to interfere with my friendship. You know what I mean? So sure, will tell you, bro. Forget we be going at it, bro. You know what I mean? But she's my tita, and I love and appreciate her. So shout out to Sherry Cummings on Kauai, and and all my titas. So this whole thing, this video right here, I wanted to make is to honor all of them, and the biggest honor I have to give, obviously, is to my beautiful, hot, and sexy mama wife, my Aiko, and my mother-in-law. My mother, don't forget, I got the best mother-in-law in the whole world, and she too wanna punch my face, but I don't know why. I don't know. I get all these people in my circle, and then they're my titos, and then they like punch my face. I don't understand that.
Only if you act up.
Yeah, only for a cup. Okay, so that's my shout out to everybody. All the Manavahinis in my life, and a message to all the Kanes out there. I think it's time we just kick back. I think it's time we kick back, Bob. Hang it up, hang up your gloves, and just let the Manavahinis just roll, because our life and the world gonna be a better place if we just step back and let women do their thing. Because I gotta tell you, bro, women, they got this thing called maternal instincts. They're very compassionate, they're empathetic, and they just want to nurture, yeah. Whereas us guys, we just want to destroy and smash everything in our way if we don't like it. You know what I mean? And it's not good for us. So, man, brothers, let's just take it easy, yeah. Back our women up, support them 100%, and let them roll. Because my life is better because my wife kind of like rules our world. She sets the schedules. She, puts everything in order. Eh, my whole thing would be all kapakahi today if it wasn't for my wife. I see the big picture, and she takes care of all the little details. And with her little tiny feet and little tiny hands, she pushes out all the boulders that's in my way. You know what I mean? Because I want to go straight forward, and she said, "Wait, move this rock, move that rock." You know what I mean? This boulder, that boulder. So, man, just give it up. Enough already. You know what I mean? Because we don't have the answers. All we want to do is destroy everything. Let the women lead, because the women will lead us to a happier time. We'll be full. Our bellies will be full. Our homes will be clean, and our minds will be clear, and our path and our successes in life will be much more better, because look at all the successes that women have today. So Lynette, um, uh, Loretta Chen, shout out to you, Tita. Thank you so much for writing what you did. And I ask everybody go on LinkedIn, connect with Loretta Chen, because that Tita, what she and share, should empower all the women in our lives. Thank you, aloha. And I just want to turn it over now to my beautiful wife, because I was talking 100 million minutes. Go ahead, baby. Talk to the world. Talk to the world.
I think if I had one thing to say, it's, never judge, because you never know what kind of impact you're going to make on somebody's life. Like when he heard today about Lynn McCauley, you know. And I've heard her name several times, and I've heard the stories on how impactful she was. And, and I know that he keeps that to heart. So I kind of tried to look her up, and I reached out to her on Facebook. And I would love to reconnect them, just so that there was a lot of people in Demon's past that said he would never change and never amount to anything. So,
including the judges that sentenced me.
Yeah, which I would love to, but I heard the judge pass. So, you know, it's you never know what impact, because one of the things when I was reading on Lynn McCauley's page.
Wait.
What?
Adrian Boxer. I cannot forget her because that's my professor. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Mana Wahine.
Yeah. But one of the things I read on Lynn McCauley's page is, while I was trying to find out if that's her or not, and I ran across one of the things that she said, and it said, "Each one teach one."
Mm-hmm.
And he uses that till today. And I've never heard that from anybody else except him. And so when I saw that, I said, okay, where do you know? Where was she? And, I started asking questions, and I said, is that where you got that phrase from? And he said, yeah. So I showed him the picture. I said, is this her? And he's like, yeah, that's her,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's little things like that that you don't realize that people will remember or take to heart, And so just always remember when you speak to someone or how your actions are, that you might, and it might be somebody that you meet only once in your lifetime,
Yeah.
but something you say to that person could make a difference in their life,
Mm-hmm.
and always open your heart. When I met him, he rattled off his whole past, and
I thought she was gonna run, boy. Like, whoa, nope.
I was in shock, but not how you would think. I was in shock, not from the list of the things he did in the past, but I was shocked that either he has that written down somewhere, ready for
Already,
people, or he had it memorized.
Know your subject matter.
And he had it memorized, down to dates and where he went and what he did.
Well, it was my life.
And but I was impressed by that, because he's taking responsibility. And I gotta say, he's one of probably the only man that I know that, and if you know his past, people probably would be blown away about it, but he's the only man I know that has no problem at all taking a back seat and letting the women lead, and he will support them in the background for everything. And sometimes people take that wrong, you know, how he tries to empower them, and you know, it's just a different
The
world.
very ones that trying to empower, they
Yeah,
they take a whole different twist to that.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know, and I think that's where the world needs to come, because there's so much chaos going in the world. Okay, it is possible, people, for a man to compliment a woman
Yes.
without alternative, what do you call it, alternative
Motives.
motives, right?
Yeah.
um
Mm-hmm.
so you know, if a man compliments you, take the compliment. You know
That's
what
it.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just take the compliment. Don't
Mm-hmm.
let your mind wander and run off in other places. And you know, it goes both ways, but there's always, I say, three stories to everything, because there's the two sides, and then there's the truth, you know. And so
Exactly.
just keep that in mind.
Yeah. And I also now want to shout out to the latest Tita that just came into my circle as part of my Tita posse, and her name is Capito.
Oh,
Yeah, Capito. She's a Capito barber, and we just met her, and she's on fire, and we're gonna be doing a
I
lot of
think
stuff together.
they're related somehow, because she's like, well, it's interesting because she's like both of us combined,
Yeah,
but she
yeah,
has his mentality where, why can't you do this? Oh, because so and so said that. Well, just do it anyway, you know?
yeah,
And that
exactly,
is so him.
exactly.
But she
Yeah,
also realizes the gray area, the
yeah,
little stones. And she's like, do it anyway, but you have to take care of all this first.
yeah.
So she's a combination of both of us,
Yes,
which
she
is
is.
really weird.
So it's really cool. So we're looking forward to moving forward. Oh, and Patty Tankayo. I gotta forget Patty Tankayo, my Moloka Itira. That's the second Moloka Itira I get. I get I get Sybil Lopez and Patty Tankayo. She's moving, but she's moving all kind of mountains. Watch her. She's moving. And you know what's funny? She get hated by her own. She get hated by Wahines who do nothing but grumble, bitch, and moan in life. You know what I mean? They come to the commission meeting and do all kind of grumbling, but no solutions. But Patty, she come with solutions. She moving. So I appreciated her because she the first Kanaka Wahine that cracked the granite ceiling to get into development in Hawaii. That's her. That's Patty Tankayo. So she powerful. And watch her. She's blowing up. And that's all I got to say. How about anything else, baby? All
That's
right.
it. Be a blessing.
That's right. It's a beautiful Sunday today. We love you guys. God bless you. Peace, love, and happiness, y'all. I'm out of here. All right.
I was on it. You see
Wait,
the one.
your stream will stomp you millennial.
Yeah.